You're welcome once again to another episode of the NSMQ Review Show. Now, this year at the regionals, we saw quite a lot of, let me say, big schools fighting for sports back in the nationals, especially at the central region. And today we are going to be looking at these performances in their various regional qualifiers. Joining me for this discussion is Mr. Samuel Ajo, Associate Client Service Director at Primetime Limited. We are also being joined by quite a number of coordinators from the central region. First on the list, we have Mr. Duncan Ayivi, NSMQ Coordinator for Infantsipim School, John Inketia, former NSMQ Coordinator for University Practice. We'll also be joined later by Mr. Kusi Oredu, Coordinator for Ghana National College. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, now let's begin our discussion. Mr. Ajo, once again, I'll come back to you. What was the level of enthusiasm in the central region when you went to conduct the regional qualifiers?
Well, thank you once again. When it comes to central region, you don't need to blink an eye to see or to know the kind of enthusiasm that the schools attach to the program.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, they all responded to the call to come and justify their inclusion at the national championship. And when you look at the crowd that gathered at the auditorium of SMS, School of Medical Sciences, UCC, it should tell you the kind of enthusiasm that the schools and the old boys and girls attached to the program. And so there's no doubt about what level of excitement that the central region attaches to NSMQ.
Right. Okay. Mr. Ivy, let me come to you. Being coordinator for Infantsipim School, you, for the very first time since 2014, you had to go to the regionals. You had to start all the way from the regionals. So what was your preparation like? How did you prepare for the competition?
Yes, you are quite right, pointing that one to us. We have not been at the regionals before, and this was our first time. And coupled with the fact that our main coordinator, Mr. Hope, had left a couple of months before, it made the preparation quite staggered. But we picked it up from where he left off, and then we had to work on some basics for the students to get prepared for the regionals. Though they had been preparing, the regionals is quite a different ball game, and so we had to readopt a different strategy to get into the regionals.
And so were you impressed with Infantsipim's performance at the qualifiers?
Definitely. If I had to tell you what we were anticipating, we did not really see any school as minnows. So we had to put in our very best to prepare for the regionals. And being the first time at the regionals, it was different. It's a new platform, a new ball game altogether. And we have to adopt. Just have to adopt and then adapt.
Mr. Ketia, are you there? Let me find out from you. What did you think about the Central Region's performance in this year's NSMQ qualifiers?
What I saw this year, looking at especially the scores that they were getting, then I'm sure that it is very possible that the trophy will be retained in Central Region again.
Okay, all right. Now, Mr. Ajo, let's take the contest one after the other. The first contest, APAM SHS once again put up a splendid performance and won that contest with 38 points. They were competing against Buraman, Muzano, Inyandencha, and Asin North. Please take us through that contest.
Well, with regards to this contest, right from the onset, we all believed that APAM were going to win the contest. We were going to win the contest because, I mean, their experience with NSMQ. And having qualified even the previous year and the other years, we really knew that APAM were going to win. So for me, it was no wonder that they won. Last year, they won by 35 points to qualify. And so if they were able to up the mantle, they've been able to up the mantle a little by attaining 38 points for this year's qualifiers. Well, it came as no surprise. We knew the other schools were not going to match them. So it was quite good for them.
And in the second contest, Ghana National against Asin Mansu, Kwejiri, Agri, Brakwa, and Aguna Fankuba.
So that's one of the stalwarts of the program, having had to go to the regionals, I mean, to battle it out there. Well, one of the senior schools who were kicked out so that they had to battle at the regional level. So once again, looking at the schools that were going to play against Ghana National College. It was little wonder that they won by quite an impressive margin of 55 points. I mean, no one in his wildest imagination ever would believe that all 80 of the schools in there would be able to beat Ghana National. Even though, for me, I've always said that NSMQ is a platform that's Obi and Obia.
Yeah.
But, I mean, take it or leave it. They were going to win. No, there was no doubt. So I was not surprised that they won by that margin, 55 points against 23 by the second place school.
Right. Now, Duncan, contest 4 featured in Fasipim School against Jukwa SHTS, Abakrampa SHS, Senya, and Asin in Suita. Please tell us about that contest.
Well, I'll rightly quote back what you people put on Facebook or your social media platforms. Mr. Hope's Jukwa against Mr. Hope's Fantipim. It was quite a cagey one, especially beginning with the round 1. I must confess, Jukwa put up a very, very strong performance in the first round. But the round 2 was the deciding factor. So we had to leave them behind in the round 2.
Okay.
Just to add to what Mr. Ayivi said, like, once again, for this particular contest, we all knew that Fansipim School were going to beat Jukwa and Abakrampa, Senya, and Asin Suita. But having come from last year, that's Jukwa scoring 19 points, and they were not able to make it because they lost to the other schools, but they weren't able to make it. But having come from last year's level and to be able to rise up to this level where they scored 33 points at the end of the round shows the kind of magic hand that's working. So for me, I told Mr. Hope that there is something in a name, because he's made a name with Fasipim, and therefore he's going to make a name again with Jukwa. So we're quite impressed with the performance of Jukwa SSTS.
All right, now I see that we've been joined by Mr. Kusi Oredu from Ghana National College. Welcome to the show, Mr. Oredu.
Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. So, Mr. Ajo, let me pick your brain about contest 5. I can see that the scores are very, very, very close here, and I can tell it was an exciting contest. You featured Igwafu Abrim, Edinaman Ifutu, Feteman, and Sredo School of Business. Take us through that contest.
Well, this particular contest is what I'll classify as, even though we didn't see such big scores, you've seen that the scores are quite close, and it's a contest that I'll classify as top of the label, because you're all on the same peg as far as I am concerned. And it was a very exciting, a very dramatic contest, in that Igwafu Abrim, Edinaman SHS, Efutu SHS, Feteman SHS, School of Business, for me, what you would, like I indicated earlier on, our schools you classify on the same level pegging, but then Edinaman should be a little ahead of them because of their past experience with the NSMQ. And so when the contest started, we all knew Edinaman were going to win. When they started, they led from the first round, 21 points. Then at the second round, they were still leading with 24 points. Third round, 30 points. Yes, so it was when we got to the fourth round that the difference was made very clear. And what was made very clear was that at that point, Efutu SHS were being led by Edinaman was just 3 points. And so they took a riddle and were at par. So both Edinaman and then Efutu were on the same, on the same points, and there was one last riddle left. So it was between Edinaman and Efutu. And when the riddle was read, on the first clue, Igwafu Abrim contest, one of the contestants pressed the bell.
That was the first clue.
That was the first clue. And they gave the right answer. There was pandemonium in the auditorium. I mean, all hell broke loose because it was beyond everyone's wildest imagination
that they'll get the riddle.
Exactly, they'll get the first clue. And for Efutu SHS, I mean, it was such a sorrowful sight to see, because they also wanted to make an impression. They want to send a certain signal out there to their town folks and to other people. One of the there's a philanthropist who was very good to them. They really want to justify their inclusion in the program by making it to the national championship. But unfortunately for them, this magic boy, as I would call him, from Igwafu, I mean, took the last riddle, and then they were on 26 points. So on the first floor, they made 5 points. That be given 31 points to win the contest. After the contest, the Edinaman, especially their coordinators, came to the quiz to find out whether indeed the answer the boy gave was on the first clue, and when they checked, it was really on the first clue. So everyone was quite impressed with whatever the performance they put up. But it was very, there was gnashing and crying for which was a very sorrowful sight.
All right. Mr. Nkitia, are you there?
Please, I'm around.
All right. Can you tell us a bit about this contest? Were you there to witness the drama that went on in the contest 5?
For this particular contest, as Mr. Joe rightly said, we were all expecting Ednaman to go through. Personally, I had some small interaction with the student from Eguafo. The student who even answered the question, all this while he had traveled to Accra. He wasn't part of their preparation. He came and then the teacher said he will fix him. So when the boy answered the radio on the first clue, in fact, all the students, all of us who were in the auditorium, come and see jubilation, were impressed with the boy's performance. Someone we had not actually anticipated that he could do such a thing. We weren't expecting such an answer from this student because all this were from round 1 up to round 4. We had seen his performance, but for him to be able to answer that riddle on that clue, knowing that they were not even part, it was between the what do you call it, Ednaman and then this school, Efutu. So for them to come from behind to actually answer that question and then win the contest, in fact, we didn't expect, and we were all quite excited, and we had no option than to jubilate with them. They did very well. So we are hoping to see them at Accra come either June or whatever time that prime time will fix for us to come and have that national competition.
Right. Mr. Redu, let me ask you this. You were in contest 2 against Asin Manso. What went into your preparation that you ended with 55 points? Tell us what went into your preparation.
Yeah, for GNC, we have always been on the quiet side, but we do a lot behind the scenes. We try to get to know the history of the school that we are competing with, and then we put in maximum effort. For this very contest, we had no option than to win. In fact, if we had met any other school, would have beaten the school, because we know very well that at this level, if you don't qualify, the bashing from old boys and all those kind of people, we're not ready for that. We decided to side the kids. What we did was to win the contest, even right after balloting. So after balloting, we went to our room where we meet kids. We normally meet them. Then we decided to side them up by making them aware of the consequences that will come after losing a contest like this. Then we made sure that they were really prepared. It was day and night learning, researching, feeding them with the necessary stats. And then since they were self-motivated, this marks, we were even thinking that we were going to go higher than what we had.
Okay, Mr. Ajo, let's look at contest 6, where Winneba SHS ended with 49 points. Another good score there. Can you take us to that contest?
Yes, Winneba, for me, I was not surprised that they won by that margin as well. Last year, they won their contest also by 45 points, and so this year, having gone up to 49 points shows that there's improvement from last year's performance. And then looking at the scores from the first round to the last round, they led throughout. It was more or less a very comfortable contest for them, for which they established their mark. And so I was not surprised that they won that particular contest.
Right. Okay. And then the next contest where Agri Memorial also made 42 points. How did that contest go? For
Agri, I knew if they hadn't won that contest, something was going to happen at Agri Memorial, because last year, I mean, knowing their pedigree, and when they were matched or they ballot against Ascent State College and then other schools, they knew, of course, this was a done deal for them. But they were given the shock of their lives when Ascent State College beat them. They beat them fair and square, and it was something else. I mean, they were in complete complete state of shock as to how Ascent State College, coming from where they are coming from, to come and upstage them at that level. And so, coming back for those years, I knew they were really going to establish themselves, and indeed, they were able to put up a very good performance by scoring 42 points to qualify. But I hope that they are able to continue from there at the national championship.
Right. Mr. Duncan, let me come to you. I want to find out from you, how how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected your preparations for NSMQ 2020? You can tell us a brief.
The COVID-19 has affected everything, every little thing about the preparation. But we just have to adapt to new strategies of meeting the boys and getting to know what we need to do for them. Because it has really affected what you can do in school when the boys are around. I mean, you cannot do much of it when the boys are away. And come to think of monitoring whether they are doing what they have to be doing and other things. It is quite a hurdle, but we are taking a day at a time and seeing what that will bring us.
But Mr. Redu, is the story the same for you?
Well, it's the same. If you look at the central schools, most of our contestants have always been coming from Accra, even though they are not in Cape Coast. So any other place apart from Cape Coast. So meeting the kids has been a challenge. You don't know how to even feed them with the necessary stuff you're supposed to. What we can do is just to be relying on the WhatsApp groups and all those kind of things. So I believe it's the same thing that my bookman is saying.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So, Mr. Nketia, let me find out from you. So, judging from the scores and all the comments that the panelists have made, how do you think these schools will fare at the national championships?
I did not be for the COVID. I would have said that Central regional schools will do very well, and then a school from Central will emerge as winners again. But unfortunately, because of this COVID, now even when the students come back to school, we have to now have about 6 weeks for intensive preparation before I think we can say that we are prepared for the national championships. Because for schools in Central region, before you see us in Accra, we'd have met ourselves several times, we'd have done intensive preparations, but now we did what we could, and now for over 2.5 months, no intensive preparation has gone on. So we are hoping that the COVID will be over, and then we will have some time to prepare very well, then I'm sure that Central region will come out as victors once again, as we did last year.
All right, Mr. John, let me find out from you. You're wrapping up the conversation. How do you think these schools that qualify from the regionals will fare at the national championships? So,
from judging from the contest and the scores that they attained, even Shredru SHS also in their contest beat Hope College and then the others, making 48 points. Ascent State College once again won with 46 points, as again 38 when they won last year. And then Holy Child with 35 points. Judging from this scores and that of Francis Payne, Ghana National, PAM and the others, I want to believe that Central Region, as we all know, I mean, and whether you want to accept it or not, it's always and has always been a citadel of education, and for that matter, science and maths in this country. And so, for me, I think that they can make an impression, but I can't determine, or I can't confirm, or I can't stick my neck out that a school else could would win. But I think that they'll make a very solid impression at the national championship based on the kind of contest we witnessed at the regionals.
But Mr. EP, let me come back to you. Final comments. Any message that you have for the other schools in the Central region?
Just like Ms. Nketia has said. Looking at our scores, we may say that there are schools out there who had bigger scores than the Central region. But if you consider even the second place schools, if they were to have qualified, some of the second place schools, if they were to have qualified, they would be in Port 2 or Port B. And that should show you the level of competition that there is in Central region. I will not mince words by agreeing with Nketia to say that we should be expecting far more schools from Central region in the quarters and the semi-finals than probably we did last year.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us for this conversation. It's been very, very insightful having you, and we are so glad that you could join us for this conversation. Thank you very much. Ms. Ajo, thank you so much for making time to join us in the studio. I'm very sure the schools in the Central region would take something from the message that you gave them.
Thank you.
So viewers, this is where we draw the curtain on today's episode of the NSMQ Review Show. Make sure to join us once again when we come your way with another episode. My name is Abigail Sewa Redu. Thank you for watching, and make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram at NSMQ Ghana. Thank you. Bye-bye.